Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Straight Up with Steph. Let me see if you can relate to this. You're sitting with your patient, you're explaining treatment to them that they need, you're showing them their x rays, you're showing them their photos, you're showing them their probing depths, whatever it is. And you can just tell you've lost them. Their eyes are glazed over, they're probably thinking about lunch or something, and they have no idea what you're talking about. And then you start to explain it again, or you think of a different way to explain it, and same thing. If I added up all of the wasted time I spent trying to explain things to patients, like I don't even want to know what that number would be. I'm sure that you can relate to that too. Which brings me to my conversation today. We're talking about AI in dentistry. And I feel like that word AI is loaded now. Some people hate it, some people love it. But the reality is, it's here to stay. And depending on how you use it, it can actually make your life a lot easier. And AI is in dentistry. I've been wanting to do an episode on AI for a long time, and I was so happy that Sophie from Overjet agreed to be on my podcast. Have you heard of Overjet? It's a really cool software program that analyzes x-rays. It even automates claims for insurance companies, and it does a whole bunch of other stuff too. I know x-rays can be really hard to explain to patients. We're used to seeing them all day because we're trained in it, we get it. But if you're trying to explain where caries is or where a root canal issue is or perio as far as calculus or bone, I mean, patients don't look at x-rays. They have no idea what we're talking about. But Overjet actually really simplifies that. It uses colors to highlight things that are good, that are marginal, that are bad. We all know red is bad, right? So if you pull up an x-ray and you've got a perio setting on, any areas of bone loss, like vertical bone loss, will be highlighted in red. So it really just stands out to the patient, and then they understand that red is bad. They've got a problem. Same with cavities. It can highlight these areas that really need to be addressed in red. Or if something's incipient, it'll be a different color. But it really just simplifies it to the patients. Like, how awesome would that be if we don't have to spend so many minutes of our day explaining these things to patients over and over? I didn't realize until today's conversation that it helps with insurance claims too and makes that a lot easier. How much time are we spending on the phone with insurance companies trying to get claims approved, explain why we sent a claim in the first place, dealing with denials, which makes it awkward for the patient? It can be a nightmare. But using AI, something like Overjet, can really help with that. My guest today, Sophie, she's a dental hygienist who has transitioned into working for sales at Overjet. So she's got the benefit of knowing what it's like to be in the operatory with patients and also this new technology with AI. If you want to learn what Overjet is, what it does, how it can benefit you, your practice, your patients, definitely listen to what Sophie has to say. She also shares how she transitioned from working clinical to finding a job that she really loves outside of the operatory. And I know that there's people listening that are interested in that, either full-time or part-time. So she's got some great advice on people who might be thinking about that. I really enjoyed today's conversation with Sophie, and I hope you do too. And this episode is being sponsored by Overjet. Hey, it's Steph, and welcome to the Straight Up With Steph podcast, where we have real discussions around health and life and just trying to be better at both. Hi, Sophie. I am so excited to meet you and to have you on Straight Up With Steph. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Me too. This is such a big thing, this whole AI craze, and I guess it can be good and bad. So we're going to
Yeah.
dive into all that today. But
Nice.
before we get into all of that, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I am trained as a dental hygienist. I was an assistant before that, and I recently kind of made the switch into sales, but I work for a company called Overjet. We do the colorful AI annotations on the x-rays, and it's just been a really great experience and happy to talk about it.
So I have a lot of listeners that maybe don't want to quit dentistry or anything because
Mhm.
it's an awesome field. I love it. But they're thinking what are opportunities outside of the operatory? And there's a lot out there. But what attracted you to sales and then to Overjet? Because I feel like that title sales can sound kind of
Mhm.
scary to people.
It definitely can, and for me, I think I just started with being curious and staying curious about other opportunities that were out there because I know when we start dental hygiene school, it's like the first class, they go over other career paths that you can take after being in the operatory. And so I just realized that I'm getting to the point in my career where I'm ready to continue to grow. I was the lead hygienist at my last office. And in terms of working at an office, I didn't want to go to dental school and I didn't want to be an office manager. So I just started. Honestly, your podcast for me was really instrumental too. A couple of episodes there, I mean, really inspired me. I have one that comes to mind, Jasmine Haley. She's a dental hygienist that she started her own kind of public speaking and
Yeah.
career.
She is
And
like I could listen to her talk all day.
yeah. Yeah, she
Yeah.
she was awesome, and this was, like, when the episode first came out, but I remember one part from that podcast where she's like, "You're not just a hygienist, like, you're
Yeah.
not just a hygienist," and that stuck with me so much, and
Aw.
it kinda yeah, it just made me want to look into opportunities, so sales was not the first thing that I looked into, actually. At first, I looked at joining a consulting firm. I looked at starting my own business, which is something that I totally would be open to do in the future, but I just was continuing to kinda talk to other people who were, new people kinda networking, and I actually knew a dentist that used to work for Overjet. And when they popped up on it was like my social media, I was like, "Hold on, this is kind of interesting." So I looked into it and just kinda instantly felt right, and so I applied and got the job, and it's been great.
First of all, I love that you loved hearing, Jasmine because she is
Yeah.
amazing, and I
Mhm.
used to do that when I was a newer hygienist. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm just the hygienist," or
Mhm.
it's like I would shrink myself, you know? And
Mhm.
there's so many opportunities for us, and what I
Yep.
have learned is these companies love clinicians. They love to hire people who have been in the op because we get
Mhm.
it, right? So
Yes,
how
yes.
did they, like, send you to sales training, or how did that work?
So I am actually the only person with a clinical background on my team, and I'm also
Okay.
the only female on my team. So it's been kind of fun. I'm going from like the
Yep.
operatory to a room full of sales bros, but they're honestly, the energy is really contagious and they do a great job at training. I even implemented some clinical trainings, like additional clinical trainings for my team, but they are really good about connecting one-on-one with management. I mean, every week we're having some sort of like enablement where they're learning about, how an office runs, and then we're talking about different ways to communicate because that's what sales is. It's
Yeah.
communication. And it's definitely a skill that you need to practice. And I'm still learning, but it's nice to have my clinical knowledge to lean on. It's really helps me in sales, I would say.
Well, what I mean, I feel like we as clinicians, again, we're not just clinicians, and this goes for
Mhm.
like dentists and assistants too, because we have so many soft skills
Mhm.
that it's hard to teach,
Right.
right? As far as communication or empathy or like,
Mhm.
or even like time management and stuff. So, what
Right.
skills have you taken from the operatory that directly translates to what you're doing now with Overjet?
Right. The first one that comes to mind is honestly being able to meet someone and then just knowing how I need to communicate with them.
Mm,
And it's going to be different than the next person I speak to, and it's going to be different than the person I speak to after that. I mean, as hygienists, we get that a lot. I mean, I'm seeing 8 patients a day. Every single patient is so different, and
yeah.
I'm having the same kind of conversations with them, but it's how I'm communicating. And, that really translates to sales. I'm talking to office managers, insurance coordinators, I'm talking to dentists, I'm talking to hygienists, and all of them can benefit from Overjet, which is really what I love about it so much. It's not just a back office tool, it can be used in the front office as well.
Mm, okay.
And so knowing, what is important to each person that you're speaking to and making that the focus of your conversation. But also just like a deep understanding of the industry is so useful. I mean, that's what's important. If you understand the industry, that is valuable knowledge to a lot of companies.
Well, it's understanding too the pain points that we have as clinicians. And I feel like salespeople who don't have a clinical background, not saying that they're not valuable. I'm not saying that at all, but it's like, unless you've been in there and understand the demands of the appointment, especially as hygienists, I mean, we're doing like
Mhm.
500 things in an hour, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but dentists and assistants and front desk, they all have their issues too. And if you don't have that experience, it's just hard to teach someone that.
Right, and I will say I've been really impressed. I didn't know what to expect coming to my first time working out of a dental office, so working for a larger, company, I didn't really know what to expect, but I have been just really blown away at how focused they are on their mission to help not just patients, but the providers.
Mm.
And that was something that, when had that aha moment finding Overjet and thinking this is for me, that's kind of what attracted me to it. I love patient care. I'm really passionate about patient care. And this was an opportunity for me to, I mean, I'm not directly, seeing my patients anymore, but I am still making an impact for them.
Do you find I'm only asking this because I've had this experience. When you step out of that clinical role, or at least even like drop your hours,
Mhm.
I had like an identity crisis for a while. And I was like, I am a hygienist, but I don't feel
Mhm.
like I'm a hygienist anymore because I wasn't providing as much clinical care. Did you have that too?
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay.
We had a couple of meetings where, like, I would overhear something and I would just start recommending products. Like, we had one meeting for like 5 minutes. I was recommending toothpaste, floss products, mouthwashes, and they were asking
Yeah.
me all sorts of questions. I was like, "Ugh, I miss this."
I
But
know.
yeah, there are still, I think, my goal is I want to keep up with my licenses. I
Mhm.
still want to volunteer my time. I still will temp if I can. I don't, I'm in control essentially of my career. And if I want to make sure that that's still part of my life, then I just make sure that I plan accordingly.
Yeah. So what like you mentioned the just, the oral hygiene instruction part of it. Is there anything else that
Yeah.
you really miss about clinical care?
Definitely, I think the camaraderie with, like, after a hard, long day where you've seen just, like, back-to-back patients and the flow of the office, I think that's definitely something that I'll miss. Yeah, and just that, like, directly helping people and seeing
Yeah.
the change, like, I don't know, seeing someone for an SRP and then seeing them 3 months later and they took all of your advice. I mean, that was
Yeah.
just, like, the most rewarding piece for me. And sometimes wearing scrubs I miss, but dressing and wearing normal clothes is definitely also, like, part of the adjustment for me. It's been kind of fun, but yeah.
That's something that people don't think about, and it's true.
Mhm.
Scrubs are so easy. They're, like,
I know.
comfortable, you don't have to think about it, and then when you have
Mm,
to dressing up to me
uh-huh.
literally is like jeans now.
Yeah,
That's
yep.
dressing up because 'cause I'm either
Mhm.
if I'm seeing patients, I'm in scrubs, or if I'm working from home, it's like yoga shorts or yoga pants, you know?
Yeah.
So but yeah, I know that when I really dropped my hours because I can't justify working clinically as much anymore. But when I go in either to see patients, I have this one office that they just kind of let me come in whenever to fill in,
Oh, nice.
or I'll go in and film. And the thing that I miss the most is the people. I miss
Mhm.
the team, hanging out with them. Like it's like you're going to battle with each other
Right.
every day, you know? And then when you work in for a company or like for me, I work for myself. A lot of times we're by ourselves at our computer and
Mhm.
that social part, I miss that social part.
Right, and I actually at first, when I first applied, I thought this was gonna be a remote job. I'm actually in office 5 days a week,
Oh,
and
okay.
at first I was like, "Oh," like, it would be nice to be able to work from home, but I'm so glad that
Yeah,
I am in office because, like I said, this a sales floor has a certain energy to it as well. It's different than hygiene where you're getting ready for a long day with maybe a difficult patient or a hard SRP in there, but it's really, like, a positive and innovative energy, and everyone is just really supportive. So I still do get access to that kind of
that's
the
awesome.
people, I will say, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm going to a dental conference in DC next week, so I'll be able to actually talk with providers face to face. So it's not as frequently, but I still get to.
Well, that's awesome. And two, like your role, I mean, you mentioned you stepped away from providing like direct patient care, but I've tried to reframe this too as like I'm still serving, it's just in a different way, right? I'm still helping.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm useless. It's just
Mhm.
different now.
Yeah, I like to say I'm broadening my scope. Like,
Yeah.
I'm able to help more people, even though some days, hard days, it doesn't always feel like it.
Yeah.
I know that I am. So it's I kinda that's really my why, why am I picking up the phone and calling these offices every day? It's because I get to help the patients still and then hopefully help the providers too.
Yeah, so that's a perfect segue into what you're doing and what Overjet
Yeah.
is. I know what
Yeah.
it is, but
Yep.
I know some of my listeners probably don't. So if you could explain it to me like I'm 5. What is it?
Okay. At the base of what we are a diagnostic AI company. We do colorful annotations on the X-rays. Now, I get this question a lot when I'm making sales calls. They'll be like, "Well, what do you guys help with?" And the answer to that is kind of complicated because with AI, it's not like a single product that does one thing. It does many things and there's many ways to use it. And that can be a nice thing, but it can be overwhelming for a lot of people
Mhm.
too. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand is AI in general, but Overjet specifically, it fits into your current workflows where you need it to fit in.
Okay. So I mean, if I'm a hygienist, I am a hygienist. If I'm seeing patients, what are some examples that I would be using Overjet?
Sure. So we integrate directly in with your guys' imaging and practice management software. So we're not replacing anything. So you're going to take your x-rays like normal. It's going to populate and it's going to be color coded. So, normal anatomy will be highlighted. The enamel will be separate from the dentin. You'll see the pulp highlighted in purple. It'll auto calculate the bone loss in millimeters, which is just like huge, I think. I think it just takes the subjectivity out of dental hygiene diagnosis a little bit.
Yeah.
'Cause staging and grading, I mean, it's an art
I
for
still don't
sure.
get it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest.
I f no,
I need
I
my chart. Like I haven't it's not like locked in here yet. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, having data to look at where it's not, guesswork, well, I think that's a third of the route, like, possibly, and then if the insurance company's disagreeing with you, then, you know but, back to how it's used in the operatory, for me, it would have been a game changer to have that populated on the screen in front of the patient, and they're seeing red for caries too. So, they're seeing red and they can say, "Oh, like, what's going on?" Instead of just seeing a shades of gray, if that makes sense.
Mhm. So I've had
Yeah.
this experience where I'm talking to a patient and I've got their x-ray pulled up, right? And I'm pointing to the things, I'm pointing to where their bone should be and where it is, or pointing to the cavity. And it's like I just see their eyes start to glaze over
Yep,
and I'm like, I lost them. I
yep,
lost them somewhere at bone loss. I don't know.
yep.
So how
Yeah,
can this
exactly.
help explain things to patients?
Yeah, I think instead of the normal, like, see this shade of gray here or see this like random line here, it's different than this random line here. And I know that because I've been looking at these for years, but
Yeah.
it's labeled for them. It sounds really simple, like to have a color coded x-ray. And what I hear a lot from people who maybe aren't as open to AI is, well, I can explain an x-ray without it being color coded. So if my system's not broken, like, why do I need this tool
Mhm.
essentially? Because we've been doing it like this forever. And my response to that is almost like kind of efficiency. Like, how many treatment planning conversations have you been in where, like, just like you said, they're glazed over, they don't understand the why behind the treatment. So, trying to push the conversation forward into scheduling or financial, I mean, they're stuck on the first part and we're trying
Yeah.
to move forward to getting them scheduled. So, it helps the patients be more involved in the conversations because they can see essentially what we're seeing on the x ray.
Okay, so you take the x-ray, it pops up on the screen. Overjet has done its magic to the image. And so we've got, is it like problem areas in red and health,
Yeah.
like is there healthy in green or
Mhm.
like how does that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, so it's a really intuitive system, which is why I like
Okay.
it as well. So for bone levels, for example, it's gonna be green, yellow, and red.
Okay.
Really easy to explain to your patients. Like, let's say you have an area of vertical bone loss where it's green, 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 and then you get to a red area. It's pretty easy to be like, "Oh, I'm seeing this bone loss. The AI is detecting it at 3 millimeters. This means we need to do something called SRP." And it's like, then that's it. They get it. But the other things with it too, decay is gonna be in red, incipient decay is gonna be in yellow. So, it's really nice too. I've always worked for really conservative dentists who really push preventative care and will tend to watch smaller incipient lesions, and so it's nice because if you've been watching an area and then you update the bite wings and all of a sudden that's broken through the DEJ, it's gonna pop up red, and that just gets the conversation starting about, what needs to happen next.
When the x-ray pulls up, like I'm just imagining, and I'm sure this is wrong, but when the x-ray pulls up, like is there just stuff all over the place or do you like filter it and be like, I want to focus on perio for this x-ray or I want to look at caries? Just so
Yeah,
it's
so
not like too
mhm.
much information?
Right, you can choose there's a sidebar that will pop up, and you'll be able to choose what annotations are gonna show up on the X-ray, so if you're only focused on perio, I would get rid of everything else except for the bone
Okay.
levels, and it's really easy because you can toggle on and or excuse me, the annotations on and off by hitting the space bar. So, you're not
Oh,
the nice thing is, like, you're not having to, like, sit there and fidget with the computer to present this treatment, and we have a really nice case presentation. It's called Overjet Lens, and it'll pop up intraoral photos, bite wings, annotated and unannotated. So you're seeing everything in one screen. And it's just something that I wish I would have had, like, from the beginning. As a hygienist, I feel like I would have been able to maybe connect with more patients. And so that's what it is. It's a communication tool with the patients.
And color is so powerful. Like, I don't know a whole lot about like color theory and stuff, but I know that red is bad. And if I
Yeah,
see something on my image that's red, I'm going to like perk up. And then
right.
I'm also like, I really like positive reinforcement too with
Mhm,
patients and be like, wow, like look at this tooth. It's awesome. Like we want all
mhm,
of your teeth to look like this or whatever. So that's an option too with these images.
mhm.
It shows the good stuff.
Yeah. The other thing that it does is it's really helpful for morning huddles. My last office, we didn't really do a morning huddle, but I did just one with myself for my column. What's nice is we have a dashboard where you can select which provider or columns you want to look at. We do what's called like a 12-month look back. So we look back at the last 12 months of x rays and annotate them and bring to your attention any possible mistreatment opportunities. For SRP, I'll start with that. So, for
Mhm.
example, if you have a prophy patient who the AI is picking up bone loss on their last set of x rays, it's going to cross reference that with your perio chart from your practice management system. To be clear, you don't perio chart in Overjet, but it
Okay.
pulls it and it's going to cross reference that with the probe depths that was measured at that time. So, one example that we give in the demos that I've watched is there is an area of severe bone loss, but there's a spicule of calculus right there. The Overjet pulling your perio chart is saying that you didn't get a deep pocket there, but it's super clear that whoever was perio charting must have hit that piece of calculus and not probed down to the base of the sulcus. And so,
Genius.
yeah, that it's just a second set of eyes that never gets tired, never calls off work. It's just instead of flipping through all my charts for the day and taking 45 minutes to prep, I have a more in-depth, understanding of the patients that I'm going to be seeing that day and a way to communicate with them what I'm seeing.
Wow, I mean, I wish that I had this too, because that's
Yeah,
the hardest thing is just presenting treatment to patients, right? And have them
exactly.
understand it and have them like not think that we're trying to rip them off. And just having it, it's almost like you're letting the computer be the bad guy and you're just
Exactly.
like the messenger.
Yeah. Yeah. With that being said, though, too, like, Overjet is never claiming to do the treatment planning
Okay.
for the doctor. Like, we are a support tool. We're not doing the treatment planning. I mean, to set a realistic expectation, AI is not perfect, just like humans aren't perfect. So we all make mistakes. It needs double checked. So for instance, let's say it's pulling, your patients for the day and it's saying, "Hey, double check this area." It might not need treatment. That's on you as a clinician to decide, but it's at least
Mhm.
bringing it to your attention to double check.
So, how on the restorative side, like how does this help dentists with I'm just thinking of caries obviously, but also like does it pick up periapical like lesions as well?
Mhm.
Like how does that
Yeah.
work?
Yep, it definitely does. I don't wanna speak too much about, like, things I don't have personal experience with, so I'll kinda say a little bit more brief on this aspect of things, but, yeah, we definitely do they call it PARL, periapical
Yeah.
radiolucencies. We do that, we do the decay, and other thing that is useful, I think, on the dentist side is there's been a lot of issues from what I'm hearing, kickback around insurance claims for crowns, and so that's where I'm gonna kinda get pivot to the front end of things because I
Hmm.
can't think of anything worse when you quote a patient X amount of dollars for a crown and buildup, insurance doesn't end up paying, and then they get this huge bill in the mail, and you have a choice. You either send this huge bill to this patient or what a lot of offices are doing are just writing that off,
Which
you
sucks,
know?
right? Like people
Yeah,
should not be working for
exactly.
free.
Exactly. So, some insurance companies have been asking for crown coverage for what they call a DMF percentage, decayed, missing, or filled. Overjet will automatically calculate that for you into a percentage. So, I remember when I was still in clinical hygiene, my office manager came to me and said, "Hey, for this patient that you saw, they're scheduled next week, or they were seeing how much of the tooth is missing. Like, they want a percentage." And I'm like, let me look with my x-ray vision and try to
Yeah.
calculate,
Say
like,
20%. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and so it again just takes that off your plate, does it for you automatically so that you can focus on other things.
So, have you found or have you heard or whatever that this is really helping with those insurance issues? Because I know insurance companies are also using AI to look
They're
at
using
stuff?
Overjet.
Are
Mhm.
they?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
so we're partnered with over 30 US insurance payers, 8 out of the 10 largest, but even the ones who aren't using Overjet on their claims adjudication side of things are still accepting that as supporting data for your claims.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay. So that I
Yeah.
know that's a huge pain point for people. And I really loved just going back to something you said earlier. Like if we've got a issue on tooth number 30, you just
Mhm.
pull or tell the AI whatever, like I don't know,
Mhm.
but then it pulls up the x-rays and the intraoral photo, just all of it together to present to the patient. Like that's
Mhm.
awesome because a lot of
Mhm.
times we're just flipping back and forth and then the patient's thinking about, the grocery store or
Mhm.
something.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and it just especially I used to have a TV in front of my patients and a computer behind as
Mhm.
well, and, like, trying to pull my X-rays and, like, then my perio chart over so that they could see, and then if they had more questions, bringing the intraoral photos. It was just inefficient,
Yeah.
and yeah, their attention span is pretty low, especially if they're nervous too. It's like, they just
Yeah.
wanna get out of there, and
Yeah,
so
and
and
they're
then
not that they're not listening, but they're not retaining what you're
right,
saying. Yeah.
right, exactly.
So have you found when people start using this, like, is it a pretty steep learning curve or is it pretty intuitive for them?
Yeah, pretty intuitive. I would say most people pick it up in a day. But the other side of things too is we have a great, like, customer support system as well. If you're ever having any issues or questions, I mean, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to them. The questions are usually answered pretty quickly, and we're always happy to connect, like, via Zoom or Google Meet to talk things out too if they
Okay.
need additional training.
Is there, like, an initial training that everyone goes
Mhm.
through?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll install it, and then the office will have a meeting with someone at Overjet to help them get set up and to learn how to use the system.
Nice. Does it work with, like, all practice management softwares?
Not all of them, but most of them. And
Okay.
yeah, every week and every month, we are getting new integrations with practice management softwares and imaging softwares. So let's say you reach out and we're not integrated now, that very well could change in the future.
Okay. Awesome.
Mhm.
So when we're talking about AI in general,
Mhm.
I feel like it's becoming a loaded word. And some people love it and some people
Huh.
hate it. So what are
Mhm.
some of the like misconceptions that you've come across when it comes to like AI in dentistry?
I that's a great question, and it's something that I deal with every single day because a
Yeah.
lot of the times when I'm calling offices, they already have their ideas around what AI is or what Overjet is or what it can do, and a lot of the times what I'm finding when they actually go through the demo environment is they're like, "Wow, like, I didn't realize that this is what it was."
Mhm.
So, I think the first one is that AI is trying to replace the clinicians, which couldn't be further from the truth. That has never been a goal of Overjet, it never will be. We are focusing on we don't replace your judgment, we are trying to enhance it and make it clear for your patients to understand it as well. And so, yeah, I think people are scared of losing, like, the human side of dentistry, but in my opinion, it lets you focus on the human side of dentistry instead of trying to figure out these data points. It's doing it for you. So, that's what I love about it, but yeah.
It's just a tool, just like x-rays, right? Like we don't
Mhm,
put 100% of our treatment recommendations on an x-ray. Like so that's just one piece of the puzzle. So it's kind of the
mhm.
same, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up X-rays because I talk about this a lot, how whenever a new technology comes out, there always is some initial, I don't wanna say pushback, but hesitation maybe. I still sometimes call offices that are not even using digital X-rays. So,
Really?
every once in a while, you'd be surprised. Yeah.
I would be
S
surprised.
yeah, yeah.
I am.
I also am. I always say like, "Oh, I guess this isn't for you, like, this wouldn't be a good fit, like, let us know if
Yeah.
anything changes," but yeah.
Yeah.
But other misconceptions, kinda how we already talked about, is that AI takes too long to learn.
Okay.
The whole point of I think, in my opinion, is it's supposed to be easier. Like, it's supposed to make your life easier. So, if you are I mean, there are other dental AI softwares out there. If you're running into something that is, like, not working the way you want to, just know that there are other programs out there. Not all AI is created equal.
Okay.
Mhm.
I really like, just like bringing it back to like we're humans and we're dealing with humans. And let me just tell you something that happened to me yesterday.
Okay,
I
wow,
went
yeah.
to, and it's about AI.
Mhm.
I had a medical consult and so just for something. And so I asked a medical question to a medical provider. Okay.
Mhm.
She got on the computer And she asked Chat GPT what the answer was to my question and then told me the answer to my question according to Chat. And I was just like, are you serious? Like, and I didn't say that, but I did call her out on it. I was like, I would
Yeah.
appreciate an answer from a human,
Right.
not
Oh,
Chat.
right,
And she was almost surprised that I like had an issue with it. And it's like, we can't rely on AI for everything because you're right. It
mm-mm.
can get things wrong. And we are still human people taking care of humans, you know?
Right, exactly, but to say that I didn't use chat as a hygienist, like, I didn't use it to answer questions like that, but in terms of, like, thinking about, like I said, I was the lead hygienist, so organizing my notes for hygiene meetings or
Yeah.
trying to brainstorm ideas on how to boost production or different things we could practice or try out in terms of like verbiage for SRP, like case presentation, things like that. So there are uses for it. It's just
Yeah.
you are in control of how you use it. And I think the best thing you can do is just educate yourself on how it can be used because there are so many applications for it.
Definitely, yeah, and I use it too, like, for brainstorming, like you said, or helping me come up with, like, outlines for slide decks and things like that, but also
Right.
it said some crazy stuff that I'm just like,
Oh,
"That
yeah.
this is not true." So it's like,
It's
we
definitely
we gotta use our brains too, and it's like AI,
exactly.
I mean, who knows what's gonna happen in the future, but I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't think it can replace this
Mm-mm.
that we've got in here.
No, no, never. And so, yeah, I think that's really important to understand
Yeah.
that it can be used in if or, like, for maybe not some so great reasons, but that shouldn't, like, be the reason that we're not using it for all these other amazing reasons, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So I'm pretty clear on the x-ray part of
Mhm.
it. But you mentioned that it can be useful for like the front of the office as well. So like what other things does it do?
Yeah, essentially, our goal with the front office is to reduce the friction with the insurance companies.
Mhm.
So we're using it as a communication tool with our patients, but we're also using it as a communication tool with the insurance. And so, how we're doing that is, as an insurance company, my perspective has changed a little bit because I used to think before working at Overjet, like, oh, AI is being used to deny my SRP claims. Like, it's AI's fault that these aren't getting paid through. When I found out it's actually the opposite, the AI is only positively adjudicating the claim. So if it collects enough data on the x-ray for it to show that it's, by their standards, clinically necessary and meets their minimum requirements for payment, it's going to just go through. It's when the data isn't clear enough that it gets kicked back to a human for clinical review. That's where you see the denials. That's where you see like the month turnaround times on your claims. And so it's essentially just another piece of supporting information that the insurance has chosen to accept because of our clinical accuracy and FDA clearances.
Hmm. And that's like I said earlier, that's such a headache for some patients
I
or
know.
sorry, some offices. I was
Mhm.
working at an office and I don't know what happened, but it was like this, I don't know, 3 or 4 month period where every single SRP claim was getting denied. And we obviously got flagged or something, but I just
Yeah.
imagine Overjet could have helped with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's just this energy in dentistry right now of things are just really difficult. Like, it's not easy to be in dentistry. I mean, we're facing roadblocks all the time, whether it be with insurance or, you know, the supplies costs that we're having to deal with, overhead costs, the shortage of hygienists, like the whole thing. And so, no one's claiming that Overjet is going to come in and solve all these
Yeah.
problems. But if it can come in and help alleviate like some of that, I mean, why wouldn't you want that for your practice?
Yeah, and it's like the older I get, the more I realize that like I have a finite amount of like bandwidth up here per
Yes,
day, you know? And it's
exactly.
like I don't want to be fumbling around with the computer or trying to explain things to patients in 15 different ways to get them to
Mhm.
understand. And if I just had something that was easy like this, like why wouldn't I use that?
Right, exactly. And the other thing with that too, I don't know if you can relate to this, but at some points in my hygiene career, I mean, I was so tired from work that day, physically and mentally and emotionally. I mean, I would get home at 5:30 and just like sit in bed and rot. Like I had no
Yeah.
energy for the things that I enjoyed anymore. And that shouldn't be how it is. I love dentistry. I love providing patient care. I want to have a positive experience at work, but then also maintain this work life balance. So, in order to do that, you have to be open to new tools. You have to be open to learning more efficient ways of doing things, or else, nothing's going to change if nothing changes, sort of thing.
I know, and it's you just get to a point you're like, "What is life?" Like, I'm
Right.
just working and coming home and crashing, like, what's the
Yeah,
point? Um,
exactly.
so we didn't really talk about production, but I
Mhm.
would just I mean, I feel like people don't wanna talk about it, but, I
Yeah,
mean, we have to talk about it. So,
right.
I would imagine that this really helps with production too because of that just patient understanding. They're like, "Okay, I get it."
Mhm. Right, and efficiency. I mean,
Yeah.
those are the 2 main things. So, you're boosting your case acceptance, and then you're able to and I wanna clear this up, just because you are, let's say, using Overjet, you're cutting, like, 5-10 minutes off of your appointment times, but it's because you're having more efficient conversations and you're getting to the point faster. It's not because you're skipping steps or, or leaving things out. The tools help you, and Overjet will help you get what you need to be done all in one spot for you to treatment or to show to the patient. And then it helps the front desk, because this is a big one that I don't think people realize enough, but if you are sitting on hold with an insurance company to try to get a claim resubmitted for, let's say they didn't pay for fluoride, okay? If you're
Mhm.
sitting on hold with them for 45 minutes, how much is the doctor paying that person to sit on hold versus how much the fluoride is actually worth? And
Oh,
so it's like, it's more about time. Like, especially insurance verification, we have an insurance verification tool as well. And I can't imagine going to every single different portal for every single different patient, and, like, how long I've talked to some office managers that they spend a whole day just on insurance verification and resubmitting claims that got denied. Okay, like, can
that's
you
crazy.
imagine, yeah,
No.
what you could do with your time if you had a whole extra day of work? So, it's you have to like, I don't wanna say think creatively, but the ROI comes up in places you might not expect.
Yeah, that's huge. I worked for one office for almost 10 years, and the 2 front desk ladies, they would spend hours on the phone with insurance, and it was just, like,
Mhm.
mind numbing for
It
them,
can
I just felt so bad, and they're tied to the phone, they can't it's hard to multitask. They could kinda do
exactly,
it here and there, but yeah, not the most efficient use of time.
exactly.
So how can clinicians, like, learn more about Overjet? Is there, like, a demo or videos or
Mhm.
something like that?
Yeah, if anyone's interested in a demo, I will provide my LinkedIn and my email. You
Okay.
can reach out to me directly. Overjet also has a ton of great resources on their YouTube channel and on their website. It's just overjet.com. So, yeah, lots of resources. Use me as a resource. If you just call in Overjet, anyone here would be happy to help you. I mean, we want to get the information in front of the providers because, sometimes they don't realize that they have a problem that could be solved. And I
Yeah.
see that a lot, and so, yeah, I'd be happy to schedule a demo with anybody.
Okay, awesome. I'll make sure to put everything you just said down in the show notes just to make it easy for people.
Perfect.
What's with AI? I'm assuming that Overjet has like innovations that they're excited about, or maybe some new
Yeah.
changes coming up. So, do you have
Mhm.
anything new?
Yeah, I'll tease. We're still waiting on our FDA
Okay.
clearance, but we're essentially about to start moving into the 3D space. So instead of 2D imaging, we'll be able to do AI annotations on CBCTs as well. But just, having conversations with the CEO, I am really excited to watch Overjet grow over the coming years because there's so many applications for this sort of technology that can really help people. And so I'm excited to see it kind of expand.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean,
Mhm.
just AI, like, I feel like just AI, because of the nature of what it is, it's just going to continue to evolve and get better over time.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, going back to like you and your career choice and everything, if there was a clinician, dentist, hygienist, assistant, front desk, whoever, that wanted to explore working in like dental tech, what advice would you have for them?
I would say go in with confidence because you have the knowledge that they're looking for. Like, your experience, whether you've been a hygienist for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, I mean, you have value in yourself and just because of that. Like, and yeah, just like I said earlier, like, stay curious. Make sure that it's something that aligns with you, because if you don't, I mean, you're not gonna like it in the long run, sort of thing. So, yeah, and just research, honestly.
Yeah. Do you have, well, you said you're the only clinician on your team, but like,
Mhm.
are there opportunities for part time if someone still wanted to work in the operatory, but then maybe work there or at another dental company part time? Is that a thing?
Like I said, I'm just a part of the sales team. Overjet has a lot of positions
Hmm.
open that possibly could be a part-time role. I would strongly suggest looking on Overjet's career page and seeing what's available. But if you have any specific questions, again, you can feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to connect anyone with the right person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, any like closing words, anything we didn't cover that you want to make sure to let people know?
I honestly I just want to encourage people to stay curious and don't be opposed to something just because you don't understand it. And
Yeah.
so taking that step and taking that time, and you might do a demo and it might not be a good fit for your office right now, and that's okay. We're not trying to push this on you. We really just want to help the people who have, the problems that we can help solve. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you
yeah.
so much,
Yeah.
Sophie, for coming on.
Thanks,
And I've
Steph.
had the opportunity of seeing this like at trade shows. And then I did get a demo. I think it's been a couple years now, but I did get a
Mhm.
demo and I was just like, oh my God, like just totally
Mhm.
blown away with how like quick it is and how easy it is.
Yeah, it's great, and if you've done a demo, like, over a year ago, I would highly suggest doing another one just because,
Okay.
again, we're just constantly evolving, and it's really cool to watch and be a part of.
Awesome. Well, thank
Mhm.
you again for your time, Sophie. And thank you
Yeah.
everyone for listening. We will see you next time. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Straight Up with Steph and being interested in living better. What many listeners do is subscribe to the podcast because that allows them to automatically get the latest episodes of the show. Remember, you are the best person to take care of you, and by learning what we talk about on this show, you're taking one more step to being a healthier and happier you. I'll talk to you soon.